Hey everybody, welcome back. This is going to be a project video, and in this video we're going to build a leather folding money clip. This is something real simple. My dad used to carry one of these. He picked one of these up somewhere along his travels at some point years and years and years ago, and I remember he always had this in his pocket when we were kids. If we needed some money for a Coke or something at an event, he always would pull this out, and he would take and just hold your money in there. It's very simple. There is no sewing on this project. There's no tooling on this project. There's not any hardware. His was a little different. It had some Velcro that made this close shut. I went ahead and did just kind of this little tab with these two little slots right here to make it pretty simple just to slide that in there. But it'll hold quite a few bills, and it's just something real nice and simple. Very easy project. So if you're just getting started in a leather craft, this is a great one just to try. Or if you got some grandkids or kids or something and you want to put a little project in front of them, see how they like leather craft, this is a great one to do that with. There is a free pattern for this project here, and the link's down in the description. It's just a digital download, so if you want that, you can click that link. It'll take you right to our free downloads page on our website. You can download it, print it off on your own printer, and go ahead and make some of these. So let's hop right into the video and let's get one of these cut out. All right guys, so here's a little more of an up close look at what this thing looks like. You can see how small that is, and this tab here just goes into these two little 3/4 inch bag slots that we put in there, and then it just unfolds. Very simple. If you like keeping your cash in your pocket and just your cards and stuff in your wallet, this is a great little option just to kind of keep them all in one spot, and you can just have them in there. You see I got quite a few bills in there, which is very odd. I usually never have cash on me, but kind of remembered about this. Like I said, my dad carried one for years, and I decided to go ahead and make a pattern for one. I'm not sure where he got it or who came up with this, but I think it's a very neat idea, and we wanted to offer that as just kind of a really simple little project here, and it's a great use of scrap leather in your shop. The one thing you want to be sure that you do is use a 2 to 3 ounce max leather on this. So you don't want anything very thick at all, because by the time you get bills in there, this thing can get pretty fat. And so we just want a nice thin, firmer piece of 2 to 3 ounce leather, preferably 2 ounce. What I find that works the best is some goat skin. Well, the goat skins here, the goat skins that we use for our bill folds and things like that, that works pretty good. Or kangaroo. If you've got some scrap kangaroo, that's a really nice leather to use. You could probably make this out of some really thin exotics. If you've got some enough scrap caiman bellies, or I'm not sure if ostrich will work real good or not, but lizard, maybe even a snake skin, something like that, be very simple. But you just want it to be thin. Don't use anything real thick. My son cut one out of like a 4 ounce, 5 ounce leather. It was far too thick. So we want to be sure that it's nice and thin. So what we're going to do is we'll cut the first one out here. Out of this, this is just some veg tanned kangaroo that I have kept back here in the shop just for special little projects. It's an unfinished veg tan, so you can oil this, you can dye it, you can do whatever. I don't have any of this that I'm going to sell really or anything like that, but I'm just going to show you any kind of kangaroo would work just fine, because it's nice and thin. You can see there how thin this leather is. And so this is our pattern. This is the pattern that you'll get. If you want this pattern, just hit that link down in the description, or go to our free patterns page on our website, and you can just grab it right there and print it off. It's very simple. There's really nothing to it. You can make it either direction you want, but I prefer to cut them out this way so that when you're handling your deal, it's right there, and you can just shove that back in there. But if you wanted to fold the opposite direction for left-handed or whatever, you can definitely do that. I don't think that's that crucial. But what we'll do, real simple, we're just going to take our pencil and trace this off. And these little slots right here are just 3/4 inch bag slots. So that's our pattern. And now we'll go ahead and just cut that out. You can cut this out with a knife. You can cut it out with scissors. If you've got young kids making these for a little fun project, you can definitely use scissors, especially since the leather's so thin. It is very simple. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of wide cut this real quick. Okay. We'll roll this up. And that's just a relief cut there, just so when it folds it doesn't cause so many wrinkles. You could definitely modify that if you'd like. And then I like to dock these corners, just because when it's folded up, I think that corner there, there's no need for that to be there, because that would just kind of turn and turn up and kind of get nasty. So we just go ahead and clip those corners right there, and then we'll get our bag slot and we'll cut that. So we've got our 3/4 inch bag punch here. Okay. And that's it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get a hammer. Just going to take a nice smooth faced hammer. And what we want to do is we want to cause our creases. We want to go ahead and get those creases in there nice, just so that the bills will have kind of a place to nestle into when we put them in there. And so we want to make sure we're flush here at the top and we're flush here on the side on this first one. And then we'll just give it a light tap. And then we'll line this next one up, this other side. Line it up best you can. Okay, and so you can see the crease that I now have in there. So now it will naturally just fold right there. And so now what we want to do is do our other fold. Keep these together right here nice and flush. And then we want to line those up with the top edge here of this one. And once I hold it in place up here, I want to go ahead and pull this corner just a little bit. Make sure I don't have big, like a big fat wrinkle in there or anything. And just gently get that kind of thumb down. And then we'll give that a light tap. And so you can see there now we don't have a lot of wrinkling right in there. That right there. And then put this tab, run it right up in there. Just like that. And that is a finished, simple folding money clip. Very simple project, very fun, not a lot of work. You don't need any machines. You just need a good knife or a good set of shears, leather scissors. Even craft scissors would probably cut out 2 to 3 ounce leather. Again, you want to be sure you're using that weight, but very simple project, very quick. You could sit down on a Saturday evening while you're piddling around the house or something and make a dozen of these to throw in a little box for your next show, or at your store, or whatever you're doing, or just carry them around your pickup, sell them to your buddies. But they're very, very simple project. Now let's cut one out of some goat skin. And I'll show you, works about the same on that. I've got some brown here of this goat skin, and we're just gonna pick us out a nice little spot. And I'm going to use a silver pin. These are a great device to use on any kind of finished leathers because it leaves a silver line on there. I'll show you here when we get this traced off. We've talked about them in other videos, but anytime you've got a finished grain leather, silver pins are very handy for this because you can see your line. It's hard to see with just a pencil. So we're going to line this up here. I'm going to go ahead and trace the whole thing. My edge isn't very straight on this piece of leather. But you can see, is compared to my knife, how big this pattern is. So you can really put to use a lot of scraps. If you've got a little scrap box full of just lining leather, 2-ounce leather that you've built some bifolds out of, or wallets or anything, and you just don't know what to do with that stuff, this is another great option and a great use of that scrap. And if you've got a splitter, you can split down any of your veg tans down super thin and make a bunch of these out of that as well. Not all of us have a splitter though, so I understand that. Okay. So there you can see the whole pattern. You can see it with the silver pin. You can get these at a number of different leather supply companies will have these. Springfield, I think Makers Leather Supply is where I get mine. They carry these. Very handy. You can probably get on Amazon and find them as well. The brand of this one is a Ward and Kennedy company, is what it says on there. I'm assuming that's a brand of the pin. So you might check that out. But they're really, really worth having some of those in your shop. So now we'll just cut this out. Same way. Okay, so we've got that cut out of the goat skin. Throw our little bag punches in there. Same thing. Fold here. Make sure we're nice and flush. Same on this side. And then there's our little money clip. Okay guys, that's making a very simple money clip. There's a lot of different money clip patterns out there, a lot of different styles. There's even silver money clips, obviously, that you've seen from other silversmiths that they make. Money clips are real popular just because it keeps your cash in one spot in your pocket, and that way when you need it, you can get to it without having to pull your wallet out. But this is a really good option, like I said, for if you've got scrap in your shop. There's a lot of ways that we can work on trying to put our scrap to good use, and it's always hard kind of managing that. We've talked about that on the podcast. We've talked about it here on the channel, as well as articles on our website. So this is just another one to throw into your little bank there as far as what do we do with scrap. And so this is a small pattern. The pattern's not very big, and that's usually the problem with scrap, is trying to find something you can make with the smaller pieces of scrap versus just throwing them in a box and letting them rot for the rest of your career, and because you can't ever find something to do with them. So this is a great option. Make you a little pattern. There is a free pattern download on the in the description. There's a link there to take you to our website, to our free patterns page. You can get on there, find this one and a few other ones. We're adding to that page a bunch this year, we hope, so we can add a whole bunch more of just free little fun projects that you can work on. If you've got grandkids, you've got kids, maybe you're doing a Boy Scout project or doing something with 4-H and trying to come up with a quick little project that's not going to be an all-day thing, this is a great one just to get people introduced into leather work. Don't have to have any real high-end leather crafting skills. Just need to be kind of interested and be able to run a pair of scissors, and you can make a folding leather money clip. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you want that free pattern, hop in the description or go to our website at dgsaddlery.com. And while you're there, be sure to sign up for the Leathercraft newsletter. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see y'all in the next project video.